Aquarius, this is your January 2022 soul story, and this month no stone will be left unturned, which means that you are going to find answers to things that have been on your mind for some time. This is Romy, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be breaking the energies down in terms of the conversation that's taking place in the cosmos, giving you some insight to help you to navigate your way through the next few weeks. So we're going to be opening up January Aquarius with the energy of the messenger of water, which is the Page of Cups. You're diving deep here. You're not alone though. You are being guided very powerfully by spirit, and there is this most beautiful spiritual wave that's taking place through the course of January. Jupiter now into Pisces is really going to be facilitating this deeper connection for all of us with our spiritual journey, really tapping into our own innate gifts. And down at the bottom of the ocean here suggests that there's something that you still are yet to discover, yet to unearth. Now we have Venus still retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, and on the 14th Mercury is going to be taking a backspin in your sign Aquarius. What that means is that you are really set to ensure that no stone is left unturned. You need to understand the whys, the hows, the wherewithals, because it's going to help you to make peace. It's going to help you to connect the dots and therefore be able to release and allow yourself to move forward. Now, the thing I want to say about January for you, Aquarius, is that your bounce back is absolutely undeniable. So regardless of how much you feel you were a little bit battered and bruised, or where you feel you've been knocked down time and time again, there's something about the energy of this month of January that I feel you can really put to this incredible, resilient, determined focus to come back into the right order, to come back to things that matter, to be able to reprioritize. Now, overall, the energy of January is quite restless, okay? That restlessness left untamed and unmanaged can end up feeling very like high levels of anxiousness. So the key here is to be able to channel that restlessness in towards breaking the cycles, seeing things that you haven't seen before by using a really discerning mind and a questioning of absolutely everything. Now, the messenger of water suggests to me that there is messages and news and information that's coming much more heartfelt. Now, during all of these retrograde periods, of course, we have the opportunity to revisit important relationships and connections in our lives. And what I want to say is that this should be a month where you're moving out of denial. So even though there can be some confusion and at times perhaps misunderstanding or things getting misconstrued, all of it's leading you towards a direct understanding and appreciation of perhaps where you haven't really truly acknowledged or accepted something about yourself, the other person, the dynamic of a situation that's playing out. So you've got the Nine of Fire here, Nine of Wands. Now there's something fruitful about all these berries coming in, and it's something that can sustain you, okay? Typically the Nine of Wands is that wounded warrior energy where we feel a little bit depleted, and yet this depiction for me actually feels really ripe, and it feels like there's something that's ready or coming into a state of readiness in the month of January. Don't avoid what feels complex, okay? What I'm going to say to you is that January is going to deliver you the right support, the right tools. Remember, you're not alone here as you're navigating your way through all of this kind of thick seaweed. You are being given everything that you need to be able to come to the right conclusion, but it does require that discernment, okay? Now, you're going to be coming into your solar returns later this month, so there's a prep energy in Capricorn around that 12th house of releasing, but also acknowledging that which is coming up from the subconscious. So choosing your peace means that you have to change the way in which you're showing up, perhaps to some of the relationships and situations in your life. Now, we don't want January to be one of these months where you're deciding how the entire year is going to play out for you based on what happens in the first 2 weeks, okay? This is a time where we want you to be questioning everything, to be researching, to be looking at all the options, to be experimenting, if you like, with how you feel, with, thinking about certain courses of action and what that might mean for you. And perhaps with that retrograde energy, tracking back to things that you'd started or initiated and now you want to come back around to. What's going to work beautifully for you with that Jupiter and Pisces transit is that creatively, anything that you started, you're going to come back to with such a sense of new appreciation and a depth of awareness and an excitement to that that's going to really allow it to unfold much more beautifully. So that works tremendously well for any kind of creative projects, anything that you're doing professionally and in your own spiritual work and journey. Now, with the release that you were working towards up toward the end of 2021, there's also a reminder here in January that you don't have to fill all of the spaces that you've now created. Yeah, sometimes it's okay to just kind of allow yourself to sit and just sort of acknowledge and perhaps review what your life looks like now without some of these things a part of it. Because moving forward too quickly at this point of time would have a tendency to almost fill it back up with a different face or a different place or a different thing, but kind of the dynamic is the same. So we're all about breaking the cycles in January. Now your Ace of Air, Ace of Swords comes in here, beautiful harp being played, but it's with the bones of something. You're getting down to the bones of it. Again, there's this deep dive, this like turning over every stone. And, the spider is weaving its web here. So again, it's doing it diligently, it's doing it mindfully, carefully. And the truth that emerges when you come at it from that kind of a perspective is going to be very important because, again, this month is also about bridge building, allowing ourselves to add to our experience with things. Now, the new moon in Capricorn comes in on the 2nd of the month, giving us a cosmic boost to kind of get energized. It's important you preserve that energy, look after it, take care of it. When Mercury takes a backspin through your sign, and we also, have you feeling your way still with that Venus retrograde in Capricorn in your 12th, there is a tendency for your energy to kind of unknowingly get depleted very, very quickly, okay? So we just need to be aware of who or what is showing up and kind of where it might be pulling on us in ways that we hadn't kind of anticipated. But remember what I said, your bounce back is undeniable, okay? And actually, with the ripeness and the energy of all of that generative fruit coming in there with the Nine of Wands, and then the sort of spiritual truth that descends on you, I feel like it's almost one of these situations, Aquarius, where you allow somebody to move out or you let go of an experience, you're going to get a real appreciation of how much energy it was taking from you. That's why I need to say to you, sit with that for a while. Don't fill it back up, because it's going to help you to sort of come back to your own natural essence a little bit. And if I want to say one thing about January for you, Aquarius, it's going to help you to consider yourself in all the ways that you previously have not been doing. And that in and of itself is going to show you truly how you have changed. So everything that you come at this month is about, what does this mean for me? How does this affect me? Where is this leading me? What is this saying about the choices and decisions that I've made, about what I've learned, about what I'm embodying? This is so important for you. So the goddess Ceres is going to be shifting direct in the sign of Taurus on the 14th. We also have Uranus stationing direct in Taurus on the 18th. And so this tangible, grounded earth energy moving in its right order is also just really helping you to kind of cement and anchor something in for yourself. Perhaps not in a way where you're ready to shout about it. I feel, again, you just want a little bit of time to get used to the idea of something before you announce it or position or present it. Your 10 of Cups here, 10 of Water, again, you're sort of sitting in in the shadows a little bit, still observing. But look at these frogs, they're both about to take a leap forward, and you know that you're about to do this. You know, there's something they're very aware of. Now, it may be that you're about to do this with another person, so perhaps there's been a choice or decision that you've needed to make personally or professionally, and you've come to a decision about whether you're going to move forward and what you're about to do, whether you're going to combine forces or even go alone, because we have this other frog that's kind of moving upwards in trajectory. Okay, so you yourself will know in terms of your own personal journey. But remember what I said, it's about January being really discerning and questioning the validity of everything as how it applies to you. And that will feel complex. You know, it's not a straight black or white yes or no. You know, but remember that when people say that they don't have time for something, they don't have time for you, they don't have time for something, what they're really saying is that they're prioritizing something else over and above that. Okay, so let that guide you, and let that also be true to something you need to ask about yourself. If you feel, you know, you don't have time, or you're projecting or making that assumption or saying that out loud, like what is it that you are prioritizing over this, and is that really what you want? And if it is, that's okay. You need to reaffirm and reassert that boundary. But if it isn't, then there's something to get to the root of. January is a really interesting month for working with a lot of the shadow, just because of the way these retrograde energies are coming in, the new energies that we're feeling into. And I have a sense for you, Aquarius, that you're really tired. You're really tired. You're weary of being repeatedly shown the same thing from someone or some sort of experience. And the reason it feels so exhausting for you, there's your Nine of Wands coming in again, and you've got Two of Cups here showing up. So this may well be in terms of a union that you're a part of. The reason it's so exhausting is because you're already feeling into the new energy. You're already at the conclusion, you've got to the bones of something, you've done the work, you've come to an understanding about yourself, about how it feels to start to embark on this journey and feeling into a new frequency. And it feels so alien, it feels so old, it feels so uncomfortable to be put back into any kind of a dynamic that you are powerfully choosing to consider yourself now in a very, very different way. And that's amazing, because it's exactly what we want to come out of this Venus retrograde energy with, a clear understanding of what has no longer worked, what is no longer working, where you are ready to heal something, where you're ready to make a complete overhaul, and really commit to that for the long term for you. Okay, this is about you really learning to not read other people's energy all the time, not second guess what's going on for them, but focusing on your energy when you're with them. How does that feel? What does that do for you? Because that's going to be the answer. That's your spiritual truth. That's where the fruit is that you can really learn. Okay, but there's an awful lot of emotive energy coming through here with all of this water. So I feel like you're coming to terms, you're diving deep, you're working through something from an emotional perspective with somebody, personally, professionally. And what comes out of this month, it's so important, not just because of that one key relationship for you, Aquarius, but actually what it's going to do for you in all other areas of your life. Yeah, you mustn't let any single comment, any projection, any opinion that somebody has of you or the way that you are choosing to approach something or to work through or to heal or to deal with something, because that means that you're abandoning your own journey, you're abandoning your own faith, you're abandoning your own power. And that's not what January is about for you. You're very firmly in the driving seat now of your own pathway. This is your sovereignty having a new voice. Now, this particular tarot deck, the Witch's Wisdom, I wanted to use it because she flips some of the major arcana, and I just felt for January it was just really about that opportunity for like this pattern interruption, you know. So here we have the Priestess as number 20 rather than Judgment, and she comes through like really stepping over this stream here in her kind of rite of passage, and against the backdrop of this beautiful full moon. Very aware, you know, just alert and awake and kind of connected in here to the self. And she has, again, this beautiful healing energy of the frog, but ready to leap. So you've got this frog energy showing up here. You are about to take a really important step forward, and you have to be able to trust yourself. You've got a powerful magnetism here, which will also help, by the way, in terms of some of the ability to heal the rift or the chasm or the challenges that you may be experiencing in some of those relationships during this retrograde. Remember, it's not really a time in these cycles to be making sort of permanent decisions, because things will feel very different. Now, Venus will shift direct in Capricorn on the 29th, okay? And then you'll be in your solar returns as well. So things might look and feel very different in that early part of February. So keep that in mind as well. But again, I have news and information making its way towards you. Perhaps it's been hidden in the past. Now it's very much coming to light. And it really, I think for some of you, is actually helping you to get to the root of something. And that's really important, because I feel in order to make an informed choice and decision, you need to really understand kind of what the true picture is. So 21, Council of All Beings, beautiful energy here of... first of all, this sense of community, okay, so not standing alone. And also we have this gorgeous wisdom of the whale coming in. And it feels to me that there's just something, what I feel from this is just like this sense of wholeness, beautiful sense of wholeness. And coming into kind of an energy of your own. Again, you've got the 10 showing there. So there's beautiful completion being felt in some area of your life. And even if it might have a sense for you of not being, I want to use the words like unfinished symphony, do you know? It's kind of like, is it ever going to be truly finished? Okay, now you can apply that phrase to many things. So for some of you, that could come in from a relationship perspective. It could be a project you're working on, something that's going on in your life. But what I have a sense of in January for you, Aquarius, is that even if there's this aspect of it, it's never going to be truly finished. I'm ready to kind of allow this sense of completion or wholeness to kind of direct me now moving forward. I think that's really important. Now we've got the full moon coming in Cancer, water energy on the 17th of the month. And I have a sense just looking at that whale that there's going to be something coming to a point, a pinnacle point during that time. And you may actually make an important choice or decision, you know, for yourself. And it may be down to you to make that decision, by the way. If you're waiting for somebody else, I don't know, I kind of feel like you're going to get to a point where you just feel like you need to take charge of something, and you need to be the one that sort of calls it out, you know, decides to withdraw or to move forward or to change things up. It's that discernment that's going to be really helpful. You're going to be seeing things that you haven't seen before, and therefore there's an importance with that to be able to kind of really do your homework. Now the craftsman of air in this particular deck connects into the Queen of Swords, okay? So that is representative of your energy. Now you're deep in review here, looking at the mathematics of it all, you know. There's important kind of solutions being born as a result of this, but it's also about the experimentation, you know, and I feel that this is important. It's your experience that you're bringing to bear right now in January. And again, you're revisiting things. You know, all these books are about past experiences, things that you've gone through that you're now reviewing and taking time to go back over again. There's also this writing down of information that might be important, whether it's just from a journaling perspective or even capturing evidentially things that you're going through, or just making sure that you've got things in writing, especially during retrograde, is going to be important. So keep that in mind as well. You've got this little messenger bird with the telescope here as well. So I think messages coming from quite at a distance are also going to be relevant as well, in terms of making sure that you capture information in some form or another, okay? But the Queen of Swords can also be a little bit disconnected emotionally at times, and surrounded by all of this union, this coming together, this loving energy. It's interesting because even the Priestess is kind of turned away. So it may be that you yourself feel that there's some time through the month of January where you have to kind of reprioritize something else, or you have to disconnect at some level in order to get something done, or to just work on something that's being flagged up or highlighted to you by your own intuition, okay? So don't be afraid of that. I don't feel like you're going to miss out or lose anything. In fact, quite the opposite. I feel it's just going to strengthen your understanding and your knowing of what's right for you. And again, you know, back to this understanding that you need to choose your peace now more than ever, and that again will mean that you have to change the way that you're showing up for some of the relationships in your life, and particularly, you know, perhaps for some of you on a family basis with that 10 of Cups coming in as well, so that might be fairly relevant. I do see you making tremendous progress with something, but I also have you perhaps making a decision to delay something, or just feeling like the timing might not be quite right. I don't think there's a huge amount of waiting around in that regard, but it is about choosing wisely when you take something public or when the announcement happens. You've got 6 of Fire, 6 of Wands here, so there's an inevitability about this being announced or going public or you having success with it, so don't be worried about that. Got no concern in that way whatsoever. I just feel perhaps this Queen of Swords is reminding you that there's something more. Remember, we're saying it's a month to be adding to things or looking at more options, so we don't want to miss something that could fundamentally end up being like a really intrinsic part of what you're working on or is important to what is about to be unfolding or announced in some aspect. Now you've got these gorgeous dragonflies and they're actually making a heart here again together, so there is this aspect of coming together. So it does feel to me, if again there's decisions around, should I go alone, should I, you know, engage with somebody or connect or commit to somebody, all of that through Capricorn energy is quite likely to be thought through much more diligently and much more mindfully as you really consider, is this something that I want around me for the long term? Yeah, that's important. But I really like this for you because that energy of success, again, like I said to you, your bounce back is absolutely undeniable. So even if you've had some difficult, challenging setbacks, this again is a month where you're kind of going back to basics, drawing on what you know, making those changes, coming forth with your truth and being able to assert that in a new way that's really wonderful, okay? And this is also about the breaking of cycles. That's really important. So let's take a look and see how these oracle cards just want to join the conversation. Deep emotions, unknown feelings, past life influences. Well, we've said that you're going to be doing this deep dive energy, haven't we? And perhaps you are going to bump up against a few things that surprise you. And I think that is in part because of the way that you're starting to feel into a lot of the new frequency and energy. It's just demanding that you look at things through a different lens, that you see things that you've never seen before. And honestly, it's like if I tracked back 12 months, you wouldn't be able to see what you're about to see and almost receive it in the same way. The time is now. It couldn't be any other time. So I want you to kind of feel trusting in that. There may be a very strong sense of deja vu, like with you through the entire month of January, Aquarius. Be at peace with that. Try not to get yourself frustrated. There will be beautiful and amazing spiritual signs and synchronicities showing up to help you, okay? I feel a lot of them will come through music as they talk to me about this unfinished symphony, and I have this kind of harp energy coming in here as well, okay? So these are the Astro cards. Let's have a look. Neptune. Okay, I mean, again, you've got this like deep dive, haven't you? The ruler of Pisces, Jupiter into Pisces, but bringing you much closer to your own dreams again, reigniting them, reimagining them. Carefully aware that we don't want to move into any disillusioned energy or too much fantasy that again kind of distracts us from the work and has us going back around. Remember, I talked about that weariness of just repeating. There's always an addictive quality that comes in with Neptune, but I feel again you're seeing through that. You're getting that Ace of Swords. You're absolutely getting the clarification that you need, but but you just need to be careful where that might be playing out around you. So from a creative perspective, this is gorgeous energy. Again, I just think anything that you want to be working on from your own gifts, new things you want to explore or to try, you know, if you have to pivot or change in your job or your career, anything that's involving that sense of artistry, creativity, and kind of really sparking your inspiration, imagination is going to work exceptionally well in January for you, okay? So this deck is the Blindspot Oracle cards, okay? And I talked about how January is just going to be really helpful for us working with the shadow. Well, this is definitely known as the deck of truth for me. So these sigils come in with a no-nonsense kind of addressing of what might be your blind spot. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a card. I'll actually give you the insight of this into the extended reading, okay? But let's just pull one for you just now. Oh, you have number 1. Okay, so we'll leave that there and we will return to that in the extended and give you the insight of what that is about for your month of January, Aquarius. Now, I'm just going to ask you to think about a question that might not have come up in this general spread, okay? We're going to pull a couple of cards for your personal question. Let's think about that now for me. Okay. So you can find the link for the description, the link for the extended reading in the description, the comment section underneath, okay? We will talk for another 20 minutes or so in that particular reading. So I'm just going to clarify this main spread now as well, just to see what additional energies we're going to be working with in that extended reading. So just beginning with the Messenger of Water. 3 of Pentacles coming in. 7 of Pentacles, nice earth energy showing up for you. 4 of Wands. Another Page of Cups coming in here. May well be a water sign. Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces that's relevant for you. Another 7 of Cups, very Neptune cards. The thing with all this retrograde energy is, yes, it can bring about that sort of slight veil of confusion. But I said this in the Capricorn reading, I don't feel it's an overwhelm, you know. It's almost an invitation, like a redirection to look elsewhere for the answers. If what you're looking at or observing with your physical eyes is just showing you nothing but the same, more of the same, that's not where the breakthrough is going to come. Oh, lots of 2s showing up for you this month, Aquarius. I think choices and decisions coming in. There's another Queen of Swords through for you. Ace of Swords. Quite like all that air energy working for you though, the Sun, beautiful. Very regenerative coming in with the energy of death there. Seven of Swords. There's a trust issue there, but there's also, you need to be so discerning with where you're being led, what you're being told. Doing your own research, you see, so important. 4 of Pentacles. Lovely Empress energy. Okay, I'm just going to pull one more. Okay, Aquarius. So, happy solar returns for those of you January born. I look forward to connecting with you in the extended if you are joining me. If not, I wish you a beautiful month of January. Thanks for being here supporting my work. Be sure to drop me a like and a comment if it's resonating, and check back in throughout the month just to see how these messages continue to unfold for you. You take good care.